Hey everybody, Chassie and I are back, and today we have a friend, our friend Kat, um, joining us for these conversations. And so we wanted to introduce you to Kat. We used to do um, like grid work together and stuff, and we'd have some amazing sessions. And Sammy would always come in. I know I should mention that this is not just like Chassie and I, but Sammy,
Yeah.
would come in, and Sammy used to do help with grid work and everything with us. So Sammy is here, even though she's in bed, but she's always, in my field. Um, so I just want to give Kat a chance to introduce herself. I don't know if you want to, give her your full name or whatever that you want to do. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, it's a little weird to introduce myself because I grew up in a culture where humility is big and you don't really talk about yourself. So when it was mentioned about introducing myself, I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta think about this for a minute. um, First of all, I just want to say thank you for inviting me. I've learned so much from the two of you from the last few years. Just always in awe about the things that both of you produce, and I really feel like a balance in the things that I've learned, and then you both have maybe more of the newer language, I guess, or even like a mathematical code, so to speak, on how to put things together or how to interpret. But my background is primarily Nordic and Celtic shamanism and witchcraft. So I know witchcraft usually turns people off, but for me, it's been a way to explain things that have happened in my life and things that are happening in my life and how to work with the energies and the elementals around me. My venture into shamanism has included, as I said, Nordic and Celtic, but also Munaki, which is a Peruvian based shamanic practice. And one of the interesting things about shamanism is the more you learn about different kinds of shamanism, you see the overlap. It's pretty incredible that
mm,
all of these communities that have been separated by oceans and time, they all seem to have developed very similar practices, just different names. Let me see. I am also a medium. Did some training in mediumship a long time ago, and I'm technically an ordained Wiccan priestess, although I don't really practice Wicca anymore. But I did work my ass off for that ordination, so I thought I better put that in there because it was a tough road. Uh,
yeah.
so that's other than being privileged or uh, blessed to be able to be at home and raise my children while they were growing up. I'm a mother, and yeah, I think that's about it that I can think of.
Mm.
Dog mom,
Well,
practical mom.
well,
Thank
thank you, Kat. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
I,
know it was always. Oh, go ahead, Chassie. Sorry.
no, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I am not in that world of you know, the shamanism, although I kind of touched base on probably a lot of things here and there. And it was always helpful to have Kat, because sometimes these goddesses, names of goddesses and things would come up, or all of a sudden I went through a phase of like with runes and Odin would come up and things like that, and the Irish kind of goddesses.
Mhm.
Um, and then, we could ask Kat and she would know, oh my gosh, well, this is the kind of the mythology about that. And I was like, I know, and what
Yeah.
could be that this is what it means. And so I definitely got a lot of education from Kat about those
In
kinds of
honor of
things.
Kat today, I brought Bridget. Uh,
Oh,
I brought her in. So much um, remembrance that Kat has brought to me uh, in in walking in and out. It's like this timeline for me has been about learning the or remembering the cosmic mathematical codes, but you can't know them unless you're walking in and out of the ancient times and the history here
mm,
and the shamanism, the witchcraft, knowing the histories. And Kat is a history book, and so um,
Yesterday I was bringing in I had a short summer soul series, and I was bringing in what was being called the Bright Company, assembling of the Tuatha, or the four treasures. And I was thinking about you the whole time. It's so funny because I wanted to bring in like like I know it was like a class or two ago. I was going to bring in, is her name Ayan? More water, and instead Morrigan stepped in, and I was like, holy cripe, my lights like went out. Things
Oh,
changed.
wow.
Like, well, I guess we're going to do something a little different today. But again, I thought of Kat going, okay, what would Kat see? How am I grounding myself? What elements am I working with right here? Like, you know um so just a really great piece. I remember, Kat, one of the missions, we'll call them missions, that we did was it was the unbinding of a Grail king. And it was so interesting because after that mission, there was somebody else in the spiritual community that was like, King such and such has been unveiled, right? And
Oh,
and it's like there's no communication. We don't share our missions. We never have. We don't go public with anything that we do.
yeah.
Or And it was interesting. But in that one was the coming forward of the rebirth of magic at its origin, at its
Mm,
original base. Like, what really is magic?
mm-hmm.
Is magic? And perhaps our conversation today will dive a little bit into that. It seems to be, um,
Coming up a lot.
yeah, it's present, and
Mhm.
it's what is magic? What does
Yeah,
that mean, Kat? What does that mean to you? What does that
yeah.
look like in the world?
That's funny because I was thinking that might be good to talk about magic for today. So yeah, so just go, correct. I was going to ask that too. You have a definition or a
Oh,
sense?
magic.
Yeah, what would that be
Um,
from?
like there's the Wikipedia definition of magic. So there's magic with a C, which is associated with Houdini and illusionists and mentalists. And then there's magic with the CK that spelling kind of came out with Aleister Crowley and the study of esoteric and metaphysical concepts. And lately, the C has been dropped, just K is being used. So magic with K.
Oh,
Um, I don't know exactly why that one is being used right now. I'm sure that there's a specific definition. I think it was to try to differentiate like TikTok practitioners from people that are actually deeply into the esoterica, so the study of the ancient universal laws, ancient myths and legends, the reclamation of like things like granny magic and hoodoo and things like that. So I've always understood magic as a way for, at least on a human being concept, is to take the energies within and without yourself and work with them or partner with them to create something new. And magic itself doesn't have a
mm,
polarity. You'll hear of black magic and white magic, but that's usually the practitioner. They will have some kind of bias or in the intent that they put on the work that they're doing. But magic, at least in the sense that I understand it, whether you are practicing witchcraft or sorcery or shamanism, is that you have a really good understanding of what came before, what you're working with now, who you are now, and you're tapping into all sorts of things to create some kind of a change. That's, I guess, the
Mm,
long-winded response to how I understand what magic is. And
mm.
from both of
And
you, I learned about codes, and it does seem that certain people throughout time have had easier access to these abilities. Like anybody can learn how to work with magic. It's patience and a lot of hard work, but we all seem to have that ability to, at some point, access these abilities that a lot of times we are told that are evil. It's not a good thing for us to be
yeah,
working.
yeah. Well, there's so many different areas that comes up with what, what you just said. And I just want to mention that my internet was unstable a little bit, so if Cat kind of warbled a little bit, so um, I apologize for that.
It looks
Um,
okay on my end.
is that on your end? Well,
It
I
was
don't know.
okay on my end, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
it's okay on your end? Oh, that's good.
yeah,
That's
I
good.
didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it was a little unstable, but I mean, there's so many different areas that my fingers want to go in. Especially the bad part, the evil part, and what does that mean? And it's been there's that part, the good and the evil quote. In this polarized system that we've been living in, there's the aspect of magic. Um, let's say as creator beings, and that it seems to be uh, what I'm sensing now, these days is that it's an innate ability of let's say, the true human soul as creators, that we actually can assemble atoms. We can work with subatomic particles. We work with plasma, and that's where like the mathematical kind of quotes come in, and then there's a lineage aspect to it, meaning in the progression and the development of the human and our universe that got refined in a sense, so that we can create new things. And I like what you said about the aspect of the Magik, that perhaps it's to create something new, because I mean, my goodness, that's kind of right where we're at now. Is we can't create the same old stuff anymore. We have to create something new. And the concept of the wizard has been coming up again a lot, for us, for Sammy and I here. But anyway, that's kind of all the different areas that I was
There's
just
there's a
running through
there's
my head.
a
So
lot of directions to go. Kat,
yeah,
when you're speaking, you have this presence, and it's one of my favorite things about you is you open up this field, and it's called, I hear it as the song of creation. And it reminds me of how we became friends. And it was because we can hear each other's song. And you specifically were like, I'm hearing this Asian woman, you could hear a song and it was an Asian woman. And here comes Susan. And you said, well, I thought she was going to be younger. And
oh,
it was Sammy that she was hearing.
oh,
And so there was this combination of us understanding, Susan, you and Sammy coming into the world, and it's like this creational world, or this song of creation. And I see magic very much the same. I see it as you can't have one without the other. And let's say something negative, we'll use that word, came upon you by the will of another. It, in my opinion, and in my understanding, or things that I've actually dealt with, is when you take the two poles and you bring them together, that negative thing immediately unwinds. It can't not.
mm,
There are a lot of people that'll spend time breaking curses, breaking rites, spells, all these things. And it's like, again, some people just come with an understanding in their beingness, and it is like it's true creational magic. And so there's this
Mm,
piece here that when you bring these two together, and it balances it out. You can't be on either pole. So something negative or extreme, it comes together and resets, if you will. I can't find another term for that, but yeah, I don't know.
One of the
hmm
things that I learned, at least with cursing, is the most power that a curse has is the recipient that believes that the curse has power. Now, I'm not negating that there isn't power in somebody performing some kind of a dark, magical, or baneful magic, as it's called, to create harm. But a lot of times, the person, if they're the receiver, I guess, or the victim, if they know that they're being hexed or cursed or especially if they're very sensitive to those type of energies, they can actually manifest that type of curse in their on their body, on their form. And but there's also a lot of power in that person to repel it. You don't have to do a whole bunch of fancy rituals and things like that to repel curses. It's definitely an interesting aspect of magic and witchcraft and how that works. There's definitely a big psychology component to it.
But
mm.
let's
Well,
go
that's good to
further.
know.
Yeah, well, but like think about the generational curses and the ancient curses. These are completely different
Yeah.
than,
Oh,
and this goes into your, it's in your DNA.
Yes.
So this is when,
yeah.
like, this is when we have to start doing some math, right? This is when it's like,
Yeah.
how I'm going to get myself out of this one, because it's not just about having a rash or your hair falling out or having a stream of bad luck. This is, I mean, this actually replicates in your bones.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and when I say that, all of a sudden I see like pictures of bones and crushing of bones and all kinds of seeing fire codes actually.
Mm.
Uh,
That's very
fire,
alchemical.
yeah, those are mitochondrial, yeah, mitochondrial. I think
Mm.
so. Yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of mitochondria right now. So a lot of
Mm.
like, or a lot of what
hmm
gets down through your mother's DNA. And
Yeah.
this is like how an ancestry holds is through the mother's lineage, is how
Yeah.
I understand that.
Right.
Interesting. This is
Yeah.
coming
Well,
up.
And even
well,
built
I
on that,
mean,
like,
and that's something. Oh, God.
oh, I just wanted to build on what Chastity said. They've actually proven now that whatever the mother is experiencing psychologically or emotionally during pregnancy, the baby or the fetus will experience and feel, and that can impact the birth and the development of that child, and that child can actually carry that, I guess you could say maybe it's like a wound if it's negative,
hmm
into their physical incarnation.
hmm
So, that
Yeah.
definitely supports this thing of generational curses. They're not always intentional. Definitely, there are ones that are very intentional, but then
Mhm.
there's also the ones that are unintentional.
hmm
You can see this in
Yeah.
the
Sammy had.
amniotic
Oh.
fluid. Sorry, you can see it in the amniotic fluid, the curse in the fluid,
Hmm.
and which I find really
Mm.
interesting. And you know how you kind of you can go back, but when you go back into the amniotic fluid, then it takes you down a whole nother. You go
Yeah. Pathway.
pretty, yeah.
hmm
Go ahead, Susan. My
hmm
apologies for cutting you off.
No, that's okay. That's okay. About mitochondria, that's what Sammy had shown me. Is that the mitochondria uh, was actually Oh, it's on my screen. Okay, there's something on my eye, but it's on my screen. Uh, I mean, this is back like tens of thousands of years ago, like maybe 70,000, 80,000 years ago, is when, uh, let's say, other beings, ETs really, you know, um, when they were able to, let's say, develop a technology to manipulate the mitochondrial DNA of the human ancestral ancestors, is when then they were able to start to uh, create genetic alterations to the human template, you know, and so this it goes that far back, uh, and then so maybe that's when I don't know if that's when it started. They were able to start to develop some of these ancestral, kind of curses. Um, probably just like you, both of you, you've seen like sometimes people when you're working on them that they've had a generational curse that goes back, you know, maybe even 1,000 years ago that something happened with a family lineage, where then usually they something with the female line, because that's when you can really pass pass down these curses generationally. Now we're getting into like dark stuff, but
No, I don't
um,
think it's dark at all. I think these are things that are really good to talk about. That people don't talk about these and they want to cover it up and hide.
yeah,
This is where secrets came. This is
that's
how,
true.
this is how
That's true.
cultures can thrive, is by keeping
Yeah,
them secret.
yeah,
Yeah, and just
yeah.
living with misery and continuing that misery for the next generation.
Mhm.
A lot of people have come into this earth walk with the primary mission, or one of their missions is to break these generational curses. Just no more.
Yeah.
We're not going to hold on to this anymore and subjugate or inflict this upon the next generation. There's no need for it anymore.
Yeah.
And we are learning that we have a lot of power now to override these or dismantle the
Hmm.
construction of these curses.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
And I would
always,
say easier than ever. Go ahead. That's it.
yeah,
That's all I wanted to
no,
say.
like desolate lands. I'll see like desolate lands and the wailing of women over and over
Hmm.
and over again. And you were talking about ETs, and then I saw angels, and I was like, gosh, what's the difference between ETs and angels? But then when I was then we're looking at the curses and how we're part of the elementals, how we're part of
Hmm.
the elements, and
Yeah.
how those were distorted. And so it's like, to me, the distortion and the curses, or these ancient curses, perhaps they're coming from the first distortion of the elements and the distortions of the elementals, and how that manifests in our bodies as well. So,
Hmm.
I don't know why that's coming through, but it was,
I
yeah,
think you would have to distort the elementals first
yeah,
to
you have,
achieve that kind of
in order
genetic
for,
alteration.
yeah.
It's interesting that you are talking about that, because I was just reading over and watching some videos about the Book of Enoch, and how Satan came to be, and how Satan distorted the elementals
Hmm.
in order to gain power over the earth. And
Hmm.
you're talking about how the elementals were distorted, and because the human form was created of the earth, we got those distortions. At least that's one explanation that's out there.
Yeah, and it
Hmm.
comes through the geometries. So when you can distort the geometry, then this is
Yeah.
where these carry through. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, and that makes sense in the sense of so um, even with the seeding of the Denisovans, I've talked about them before. Andrew
Andrew
Collins
Collins.
talks about them. Hmm. Uh, in he mentions it in his book, although other people have talked about him. But the Denisovans, they were like, 8 to 10 feet tall. For people who haven't seen previous videos of ours, or some of our blogs and stuff that we've put out there. But the Denisovans, they were seated in Siberia, in that area, and on the Mongolia Siberia border, in that area. And one of the first things that happens is when there's a seeding, is like a portal was opened in the earth, you know, and the first thing it affects is like our plants and animals, right? So they hold the genes for this new seeding to come in to support this seeding and evolution, So what you're both saying makes sense about the elementals, because right, the geometry, the plants have a certain, they follow a geometric pattern to come out of the earth in a certain way, the spiral. Um, and they also are carry a lot of the devas, the elementals, carrying, like, is it the elementals or is it the devas that carry like the genetic
Both.
memory of each species. So all these things make sense of how perhaps we've gotten to where we have been. I just want to say have been, because definitely feels like it's rapidly closing out now, this old last phase. Um, so,
Yeah, what do you say about, thank you, Susan. This is making me want to ask Kat this particular question. How would we explain the difference between the Devas and the Devi-chan?
it's a good one.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with the second term.
The Devi-chan or Devi-chan. So like
David Kahn.
Devi-chan.
Yeah.
We hear that as like uh, the collective pattern or consciousness of a phylum of animals or a species.
Okay, like the genus Loki,
Yes.
genus Loki.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the way I understand devas in genus Loci or locus is, one is the Vedic term, or yeah, I think it's Vedic, or but it is the overall consciousness of something. So, like dandelions will have their own deva or their own genius locus. That's different from like a aspen tree, for instance. So when you communicate with one dandelion, you're essentially communicating with every single other dandelion on the planet. And humans even have their own genius locus. That is like that collective consciousness that's all
Says
around
we're
us.
human. Oh,
Is that
says we're
like
human.
hive mind or different than hive mind?
Um, I don't. I'm thinking that it's, so a hive mind to me is kind of like the Star Trek Borg, where everybody thinks
Yes.
the same way and
Yes.
talks in one voice, whereas the collective consciousness is um, a group of thoughts that's accessible, so that if you want to be connecting with your ancestors, you can access this collective consciousness. And I'll be talking to my ancestors, and not necessarily contacting Susan's ancestors, but maybe they overlap somewhere. But it's just being able to access that type of information.
Mm. Excuse me. The coffee maker that my son is making coffee right now.
Good. That's good. I have mine here. I have a breakfast for cinnamon latte.
um, yeah, that's. Thank you for that. I never really thought about asking that question about the Devacon. So I asked ChatGPT, if you don't mind. Uh, so this is what it says. I don't know. It says Devacon is a concept that comes mainly from theosophy, I think that's Alice Bailey's work, and what's the other woman's name?
Crowley.
Crowley
Is it
and
Crowley?
Levinsky.
Madame Blavatsky. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Blavatsky.
So different than Rudolf Steiner. Um,
But
so
he studied there first before he opened into anthroposophy. He was in the Theosophical Society.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah, yeah, because it kind of gives you some basis, right? Um, so it says etymology from Sanskrit deva. I didn't know that this is what deva meant. God, shining one, khan, abode, a place. So it literally means the dwelling of the gods. Meaning Devachan is described as a blissful post-mortem state of rest and assimilation between earthly lives. It is not the ultimate liberation like moksha or nirvana, but rather a temporary spiritual plane where the soul experiences the fulfillment of its noblest aspirations, purified from the pain and limitations of earthly existence.
Mm.
Yeah, characteristics often portrayed as a heaven world where the soul enjoys the spiritual harvest of its earthly deeds. Subjective and individual, each soul experiences its own Devachan according to its inner nature and spiritual attainments. Well, these are really interesting.
It is.
Impermanent. Yeah, the soul eventually leaves Devachan and reincarnates again, carrying forward the essence of those experiences. I'll just
Mm.
read that much.
I always see when I'm working with animals or an animal spirit comes in, I'll see the overall, and I thought it was a Davicon or a Davicon. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. That's what I think I hear. And it always appears as white. It's a white deer, a white buffalo, a white
Oh,
rabbit, a white, whatever it is, it always comes in as a white. And then it's like the representation of the whole consciousness of that.
and the purity of it, the purity of
Mm.
that animal construct, its uh, genetic biology. I mean, the white seems to symbolize all of it. The purity of the essence of the original,
Yeah.
is what it feels like. Oh, that's beautiful. I like that.
Interesting. I usually don't see a specific shape, especially with plants. It's more like a feeling or hearing them when they're communicating with those different beings.
Mm,
Yeah, you
mm,
were really big when I was making this, like when I started working with copper rose gold colors and like Sasquatch and these things, you were really big in assisting me with like, okay, this plant, and like I'm seeing these plants, and you're like, this one's north, this one's south, this one's this. So like you're my go-to.
Yeah.
You're my gal for like how these plants, you're brilliant with plant medicine and just knowing the essence of them.
mm,
And and right now, like, because my biggest question was, I believe I was working with Foxglove, and like you were telling me, is it called Datura? No.
Uh, Fox Foxglove has digitalis in it.
Digitalis, thank you, digitalis. And so that was like, um, something I'm seeing a whole bunch of that right now.
yeah,
And
me too. I'm just
I
seeing
feel
all
like I'm seeing,
plants talking. I feel like there's all these
I'm
plants
seeing
talking.
like fairies ring the digitalis like a bell, right? Which is really interesting. Which of course you are very much connected to these elements as these elementals as well.
Hmm.
So I feel like the whole fairy realms are kind of like stepping in right now. Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're all
well,
talking. They're like
yeah.
chattering.
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody once tried to convince me that the fairy folk um, had left certain areas where I am, and I'm like, no, no, they might migrate to different areas, but as long as you have some plants growing, or there's even a few rocks or something in there, they're there. They're still
Mm,
working.
Yeah.
mm. I just feel this heat in my chest right now. And I'm seeing the plants, and they're saying, and they're like literally energy is moving to the center of my body, and it's like closing out, closing out, closing out. We're uh, we're helping you to bring the new, birth the new, coherence, coherence. I mean, I'm just like, what?
It very much feels like digitalis to me. Like it really feels like what this plant has to offer.
Mm.
It's a
Yeah,
pretty potent plant.
the
I
Bane
had,
herbs are really potent um, healers. They have very potent medicine, as you know. Like there's certain ones you cannot touch barehanded, but the teaching that can come from them is just incredible. And I don't know if they evolved to become poisonous to plant people and animals because they hold more information. I'm not sure,
Mhm.
but yeah, they're very incredible to work with, not only on the physical aspect for healing, but just to listen to the wisdom that they hold.
which plant
Yes.
was it? I missed it because I was going,
Digitalis, it's foxglove. I know.
Yeah,
So
oh,
foxglove,
we should
monkshood.
let's do a warning, right? Like,
Yes.
because the energy is moving through the container. So, there is a little bit of a warning if you don't want to, be
it's,
touched by this
yeah.
medicine.
Yeah.
Just kind of step out of it because it is pretty potent.
Well, I had we had two fox plants in the back because I got this clear message maybe like over a year ago that my body needs foxglove, and then to
Mm,
plant them. So we planted them, and they were growing. They looked like in the spring, they looked like, whoa, they're gonna really take off. And they got really tall, and the leaves got
mhm.
really wide and big. And then they died. They like they wouldn't grow anymore no matter what we did. And I
Might
don't
have
know, you
been
guys
too
can
warm.
confirm
It might be
to
too
this.
warm there.
Oh,
And
well, I
and
thought
they
maybe I felt like maybe my body had took in all the all its life force energy and they died.
That could be.
it's yeah. The
I
baneful
don't know.
plants are also very protective. So when you have them growing in your home or in your garden around your home, they can act like your first line of defense,
Yeah.
and they will take on whatever is trying to access you and defend you.
Oh,
Hmm.
I
oh, that is,
love that plant. Like I love that plant. It grows wild here.
Oh.
So
mm-hmm.
I've grown up with the plant.
Hmm.
Everywhere it comes up midsummer, somewhere around there. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I mean, a lot of growing
Mm.
now. Uh, bring it physically into my yard because I have animals, um,
Hmm.
but energetically. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, one of my personal favorites or an ally is henbane, and it's considered an invasive plant here. And I'm like, no, it's such a powerful plant. Yes, it could cause great harm if you start picking it with bare hands, and it can kill you if you eat it. But like for magical work and even for work with if you have, yeah, autoimmune issues for like a topical, it can be a very, very good medicine. But definitely, with the baneful herbs, you need to know what you're doing or work with somebody who needs to know what they're doing to avoid the toxic effects of them.
could you use,
Henbane?
yeah,
Henbane,
What is
yeah.
how is it spelled? Hen?
Henebane.
Okay, that's what. Okay, I almost had it
could
right
you
because
use that in like a tallow? Like, could you mix it into like a tallow topically?
Yeah, you can. It would have to be small amounts
Yeah.
because just again, I can't remember if that one has digitalis in it as well, but it can affect the cardiac system.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
boy, I
definitely.
gotta tell you, these plants are having a powerful effect on me.
I
I mean,
know.
I can feel it in my throat, the foxglove.
Mhm.
Oh,
doing something in my throat, and then when you talked about henbane, it's like clearing my sinuses, uh,
yeah.
my nostrils. Just talking about it, it's having
There's no messing around with these plants that
Mhm.
have a job to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's really a forgotten medicine or a forgotten magic, something that
hmm
you can look at it as magics. Um,
yeah,
uh,
I think it is magic.
I would call it magical medicines, right?
Mhm.
Um,
hmm
So
hmm
calling in the energy of these is quite powerful and underestimated.
hmm
Underestimated.
hmm
Yes. Oh, yeah,
Well, it
definitely.
feels like the combination of their atomic structure, makeup, which would be at, its genetic levels, and then the mathematics of how it grows,
Mhm.
you know, very, very refined. Um, and then the spirit, and here I mean spirit as in let's say, the creational original intention of that plant, um, is very powerful, and it's becoming, I don't know, from our eyes, it might seem like it's becoming more powerful, but is it that they're becoming more powerful, or is it that um, the word that's coming is they're being allowed to operate the way they were meant to, um, their essence, their spirit, their how they contribute to the wholeness of the planet is being allowed to come alive in a more powerful way than we've known, in the past. They've always worked,
Mhm.
but maybe in a distortion field, and how we've operated, that not at the level that they can function. Because this is exciting, guys. I mean, I'm literally if you're talking about these, I feel all kinds of healing going on in my body, and probably because I need a lot of healing. So I feel it more intensely. But anyway.
The bees are showing me that they hold, I don't know, genetic instruction sets for, like, they have a whole genus of all of the plants, like all of that kingdom.
Hmm.
The bees are like showing me this.
Interesting.
So yeah. Hmm.
Bees are also
I think you've been talking a lot
associated
about bees. Yeah. With what?
with, oh,
Bridget?
if you're doing a lot of work with Bridget, there'll be a lot more bees coming around you.
Oh, well, that explains it.
Oh.
'Cause I've been doing nothing but bees, bee healing, bees like I'm being shown like a specific kind of bee pollen cream to make, like all kinds of things that are happening here. So I'm like, okay, hold on.
And why Bridget? Yeah, why Bridget?
Why
Why
did
are
I
the bees
she
associated with bees?
oh
Why are the
Um,
bees associated with Bridget?
yeah, it has to do with her being considered like a mother goddess, the divine healer aspect or archetype in her. And bees
Hmm
were known for, well, not just the honey, but honey was used as an effective antibiotic, anti-parasitic type of salve in
hmm
ancient times.
hmm
And they were recognized for the pollination of the flowers and the trees. So they were considered at least sacred to Bridget. And
hmm
I'm not really clear on like how exactly that association started with her specifically, but yeah, just when you were mentioning bees, and I'm like, oh yeah,
maybe I'll go in and ask that
Bride
because
or Bridget,
she's
and that just recently. So.
she's certainly never uh, I left my side since this all started happening. So
Mhm,
it's like she's just right there. So
mhm,
there's
mhm.
um,
Yes.
which I'm grateful for. It's been an amazing journey.
Well, for people who may not know who Bridget is, and I'm not 100%, I don't know a whole lot about that. So maybe you could explain, is she Druidic? Is she Celtic? Goddess? Like what? Can you
Yeah,
explain?
Bridget or Bridie or Brigitte. is a Celtic goddess. She was part, or is part of the Tuatha De Danann, which is the Irish she or the Shining Ones. So they are uh, the fairy folk, or maybe a bit more than the fairy folk. They're actually like older Celtic gods. Bridie or Bridget was one of the few Celtic gods that actually was made into a Christian saint, so Saint Bridget.
Mm.
Um, Bridget is associated with the Glastonbury well in the UK, so the well is known for having healing properties.
Mm.
Bridget is the goddess of healing or medicine. So in my world, a lot of Wiccans or witches who are focused more on healing will work with Bridget because she has very powerful information that she carries with her. She, I don't know specifically, uh, like she's not solely like a druidic type of god, but
Mm.
definitely in the Irish and Scottish pantheons of gods.
Mm.
Very, very powerful god. Sometimes people think that when deities are known for more healing or more maternal aspects, that they're soft.
Mhm.
And no, no,
Yeah, a bit of a mistake.
yeah, yeah,
Mm. Mm.
Identity.
yeah.
I don't know why this is, but you would think that I'm Asian, I'm Korean. Um, I grew up here most of my life. But I don't really get a lot about the like Asian mysticism strangely. And but I get more of like the European for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why. Those uh like Odin has come up, the Celtic goddesses at times. Um Inanna, I think Inanna is in that category, and I don't know why, but I'm like just wondering. My husband is like a quarter Irish, uh, you know, so I don't know if it's related to my children because they obviously then have those genes as well, but um, a lot of that has come up more than my Asian. I'm like, why is that? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out, but that's something for another time, I guess. That question is coming up. Um, anyway,
It's, part of it, I think, is we have Marvel that has put at least
oh
the
yeah.
Nordic or Norse gods in our
Hmm.
faces, right? For years.
Hmm.
So where we are more familiar with them just because of comic books and movies. But
Good
from
point.
my experience with deities is uh, they they don't really care much about uh, your physical, how you look.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
is the energy that you carry.
Mm.
And at this point in time, too, with travel and things like that, um, I don't think people are pure anything anymore unless, they're in the Amazon forest somewhere. But we have so much DNA from other places,
Yeah.
other cultures, and also, for those that believe in reincarnation, we hold the memories of so many different cultures. So
Mm.
even with me, like my ancestry is majorly Finnish, and there's the Celtic side, but I really didn't know too much about Finnish paganism. Actually, didn't really know anything about it or their gods, but I have definitely felt a stronger pull for Irish and the Nordic gods, and have felt their presence in my life since childhood
Mm.
and for
I
a long
loved
time.
He-Man when I was growing up.
Oh,
Remember
I
Yeah,
love
He-Man?
yeah,
He-Man. He-Man was great. Yeah.
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 Same with me, Nordic and Celtic. I always saw Celtic symbols and runes. So always, always, always just those two symbols. But there's something also about when you breed with somebody, there's
Mm-hmm.
I've heard, because the child is growing in your womb, there's an exchange of DNA of the
Yeah.
father. And so I was actually shown before that as the woman, you can, for your children, go back and heal trauma, relinquish or banish curses, all kinds of things through the father's DNA because you held it in your body. Therefore, there's a
Yeah.
responsibility. I know not everybody will believe me or think that way, and that's okay. It's just what I've been shown. And so you can go back and heal that. And subsequently, because it's being healed in your child, it does go back through father's line.
Yeah. Well, and I think biology has shown that from our children that are in our womb, we actually also carry some of their genes, continue to carry some of their genes in our
Yes.
body, that it runs through our blood. And so that imprint from your child that we also receive is strong. So I can understand what you're saying. Um, but 12 tribes was coming up as we were just talking about the kind of, let's say, the melting pot of the world where, it's like something about a true blending now of the 12 tribes of
Yeah,
humanity. Um, mm,
yeah. Just the Tua Danan uh, is thought to be the 12th tribe, the missing 12th tribe of Dan.
oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay, that makes sense.
but
Um,
interesting that they have been converted into gods.
mm, mm. And there was just something that about uh, okay, related to the 12 tribes, right? And the Tower of Babel, scrambling of languages, that it's actually the the telepathy that's gonna heal. That is the scrambling of the languages. And then why that's what I'm getting right now is that's why then they have to go to different languages in each region, um, spoken language, but telepathy would transcend all of that. Well, it does. And then unscrambling of our genes that we carry for telepathy is a big piece of what's coming online. Because I know um, a Sasquatch friend, a couple of years ago had shown me that the humans have telepathic abilities, and it's on our first chromosome that the first chromosome is something that we even share with Sasquatch. Um, and ours was turned off. He showed me like an area that was like completely like darkened. And so, you know, if that is turned, it's we weave that back into our genetic encoding, and the telepathic aspect is going to become more natural again. And somehow the autistics are reawakening the beyond verbal because they rely more on that energetic communication. That's what I'm seeing right now. I don't know. Any thoughts about that? Or wow.
I don't know if I'd want everybody hearing all the thoughts in my head and the music going on, and there's a lot going on in there.
I know, I know. Well,
I think that that's
uh,
like something that we like over time when there's a level of responsible co-creation. I think we're moving back towards that. I
Mhm.
don't know that it's going to be like next year or in 20 years or 30
right.
years, right? But I believe that the opening up into that is what's happening now. At this time, there's still so many schisms in the mind, the mind body, that some people would, I mean, probably more people would go insane listening to some of the thoughts and seeing some of the visions. Because you see, we're moving into the astral realm now in order to learn how to live in that land, so to speak. And that's already a shit show. So, learning how to clean out, we're going to be working in those fields, so to speak, because that is our field of co-created reality. That's like, I don't know, I see it like as the ascending part of, moving up, coming into the heart, accessing the soul. And this is where there's like all of humanity's creations, which is interesting to say the least, right?
Yeah.
And so learning how to step into that is, once this is kind of cleaned up, so to speak, and we learn, we'll be learning how to do responsible co-creations. Before that, we don't know that. You don't know that your thoughts or things were told that in like how to better your business profile, thoughts or things, or go back to some of these older patriarchal manifestation systems. They tell you these things, but nobody actually knows how to apply them because they're applying them without the entire blueprint, right? They have just a tiny piece of it, and you can't put the whole puzzle together without this, these other pieces. And very few, I think, can hold all of these pieces on the planet now. So,
well, and the other aspect, oh, go ahead. Are you?
No, go. No, you're good.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. The other aspect of that, other people reading our thoughts and things, I feel like, I don't know if force is the right word, but it forces us to kind of have to heal our thoughts and recognize what we actually all collectively think, like there are collective thinking patterns, even, collective personality archetypes that have both shadow and light aspects to it. And it's integrating that shadow as a collective, and then that we actually have too many thoughts, even, the mind chatter. I mean, uh, Sammy and the autist, they always said that the mental and emotional body are really supposed to be one. And you have way too many thoughts that are unnecessary, and really a lot of these thoughts are shared thoughts that everybody else has, and judgments, and opinions that run through our minds so easily. I mean, I was thinking, I think last week, like I have way too many, like instead of, like, let's say somebody cuts you off on the road, you have all kinds of swear words that go out, you know, that idiot, that, whatever. Um, Instead of, you know what, I was really pissed when that person just cut me off, which is really the essential emotion. It shocked me, it startled me, it made me angry because I was startled. I mean, those are really the underlying, underpinning, really emotions of it. And when you can sort of get away from the opinions, the why do we have to, impose such thoughts on people or on yourself, on ourselves, when memories are coming up, or you did something, you made a mistake. I think it's really those kinds of things that maybe we don't want everyone to know about, and we think, you don't want to be transparent about those things. But there's also this feeling that the energy itself is going to speak louder from your body, whether you want it to or not, whether not the exact thought, But I don't know if you've noticed, with people like you're gonna feel it
Yeah.
from other people's energy field, from their aura, whatever. And so it's gonna be, interesting. We have to become more accountable then and really neutralize those thoughts, right? The polarity, neutralize it, then that we can um, heal it and clear it once and for all. We have to
The
go ahead.
first steps of telepathy is knowing the feeling what people are thinking, right? Feeling what did I
Yeah,
just walk into?
yeah,
So, when someone cuts you off, how can you control that? And so the first one is create more physical space always between you and the other vehicle. And then second, look at it as from the space of gratitude of, oh my gosh, thank you. I must have been rushing somewhere, and this
yeah.
was slowing me down just enough to avoid something.
Hmm.
So learning to retrain our thoughts in the moment is, I think,
Part
the
of the.
yeah, it's like what we're working on right now.
Hmm. Even what
And
we see on social media or the news. Go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say that and then we have the other side where we have a lot more people being diagnosed with ADHD, where they have, a lot of thoughts in their head, music, thoughts, conversations, replays of conversations, and there are those that have to take medication, which turns off that. So,
Mm.
and I'm not encouraging anybody to stop or take medication, but when I'm thinking about what you're saying about having to relearn our thoughts, are those people having that opportunity to learn how to sort out or manage their thoughts? Is that being removed? And again, this is not,
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
say people
Well,
shouldn't take
it's
meds
in
or
that
anything.
it's in that mental field that
Mm.
goes around the body, right? It's like a frequency, and in that particular area of the body, which looks like a pen, pentac, pentacle, it goes like this, and then like this, and then like that.
Oh, the Pentagon. Yeah.
Gone. Thank you. Um,
Hmm.
it is where audio inserts can get put in, and so how do you clear that frequency field, and where does that frequency field come in, into, I call it the mind body, right? And then like Sam is saying, Susan, that the disconnection between the mind and the heart, that's that silver and gold that we would see here to open up
Mm.
the heart, right? We're living from a different lower vibrational space. And so uh, when we can control, uh, or move out of, I don't even know exactly how to see it, but when the high heart is activated, there's less mental chatter. Uh,
Yeah,
Mm.
and, and so in the meantime, continue to clear that mind body, that mental field. And that is, yeah, that's the part right there, staying on. How do you stay on top of that? Because
Hmm.
it's almost like all of humanity feeds into that
Hmm.
field.
That's the collective aspect, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that
what
we
causes.
co-create this.
I think we all have ADHD.
Yeah, I know I do. I feel like I do
It's like,
too.
yeah, at least some form of it, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a feat. It's a feat to control our thoughts and control our emotions. But
Yeah,
if
Hmm.
you are not in control of your thoughts, somebody or something else is. And
Hmm.
that's that running loop of music. The music with the frequency changes, and it hooks in, and it's in the addictive patterning. So the music that keeps playing in the head, or the conversations, that's an addiction. And so the addiction is in the uh,
Hmm.
comes in that
Hmm.
form. That's
Hmm.
my personal, my 2 cents.
and then we insert that all into the collective consciousness.
Yes.
So then
Hmm.
we have a collective consciousness that's just cluttered
Hmm.
with
It is cluttered, very
everything.
cluttered. And
I'm
then
seeing
within
a jukebox,
families, you're seeing what?
a jukebox, right?
Oh, Well, and I think for children that are growing up, or just in a household, I mean, it's also about your family members, you know, like we could be working on ourselves, but you can't, I mean, because I definitely feel it from my family at times, you know, um, and they could have stuff going on, and, you know, if they're not on top of it, not that they have to be on top of it, because it is hard, so we're affected by not just, um, the collective in your community and the world, but also then your family that you live with and what they're struggling with, how they're clearing, whatever that is, I mean, I know yesterday was really intense, and like, oh my gosh, I mean, I couldn't even be in the same room with my husband because he's getting his download and his head is like, rah, and his eyeballs feel like they're popping out of his head, and then my youngest son, I feel him, and then Christopher later on. So, I mean, these things are going on within our family members,
Mhm.
and we can't control all of that as, as women, as moms. But anyway, so there's a lot that we're just to say, I think for the audience and everybody that there's a lot that I think we're all contending with um, all the time now
Yes.
at many different levels. So
It definitely feels that we are walking through sludge of so many different forms that are just bombarding the auric fields constantly. And if you have
yeah,
tics or attachments, that's just allowing things to infiltrate even deeper. And then you got to deal with that. And oh, it's an
mm,
incredible time to be alive. But at the same time, it's like, holy crap.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I know you and Chastity and Kat, you've been kind of more awake, than I was since I was a, kid. I mean, I was always empathic when I was growing up, but a lot, cut off in a lot of ways, and I, always felt like, this world is there's something wrong here. It's not supposed to be this hard, But as far as like all the channels opening up, it was probably like the late 2000s. So I mean, I can't imagine people that have been awake, quote, awake for like 30, 40, 50 years or all your life since you were a little kid, to cope with that, and maintain your sanity, up to this point. Uh, but it feels like we are really crossing a final bridge, so to speak. Uh, and it just feels like it will be continue to get easier,
Mhm.
for I mean, we have the nature support, the plant support.
Yeah.
Well, we've gone over an hour now. I don't know. Maybe we can just uh, maybe each of us quickly go through, like, because we talked about, mind chatter, clearing your field. I mean, some simple ways that everybody has a suggestion to what you could do to, you know, clear your field or support embodiment. I mean, I don't know. Anyone want to go?
Yeah, I can start first, like for the physical form. One thing that I like to do, at least when leaving the house, is a little bit of Tiger Balm on the soles of my feet because I've got enough stuff and I don't want anybody else's or anything else for to pick up. Um, in
Tiger
my
Bomb? Is
Tiger
that the
Balm,
Tiger
yeah,
Bomb? Oh, okay.
the stuff that you can get from your pharmacy that smells very, very strong, but
Uh-huh.
it's a
I
potent,
like that.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a potent solution that's available to everybody, and a little
Okay.
bit on the soles of your feet, and so even you can put a little bit on your back of your knees too. But it just creates like an energetic barrier between the soles of your feet and the ground. That way, you're just it's one way to protect your energies so that you're not absorbing some other things. And yeah, just from my world, definitely working on grounding and meditation that helps with the monkey mind. And
Hmm.
it's not a perfect solution, but at least it helps to create some moments of silence. And meditation doesn't have to be, hours long. Sometimes it's just a couple minutes of just being quiet. Thought comes in, oh, I have that thought. Sit it on your left shoulder, pick it up later, go back to that quiet space. And yeah, it doesn't have to be anything really, really big or
Hmm.
momentous.
Hmm. Chastity, you want
Cute. Excellent. I like the idea of anointing your feet in some way. I think that that's really powerful. So thank you for that reminder. That's awesome. Um, for the physical body, I also like to carry or wear some kind of shungite or any
to?
kind of object that you believe will protect you, that you have a likeness. It doesn't have to be um, a stone, it can be uh, anything that you hold valuable and that makes you feel safe. I think that that's important. Uh, Protection isn't always about knowing a mathematical code or knowing a little chant or a prayer. It's about just being surrounded by or carrying something that is meaningful to you. That's a very powerful protector. And Catching yourself, making a vow to yourself to catch yourself um, when a negative thought comes in and
Hmm.
change it as soon as you recognize it.
Hmm.
It just as soon as you recognize it, and that soon will come faster and faster if you're in active practice. So,
Mm. Okay, I like those. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. I know. I have to catch my thoughts. Yeah. Well, one of the things as far as like mind chatter, just like I said, my husband and my youngest son, they were so intense yesterday, and you know, um, as females, we tend to be more magnetic, and so we can kind of help move energy. I feel like, especially grounding. And this is just a big year for embodiment, and uh, you can't escape it now. You can't escape it. It's just kind of happening, um, and that is going to cause a lot of disruptions for some people if you don't know what's happening. But so this is something that I used to do, several months ago and things. But I told them, okay, I just want you to make a commitment. You can set your timer for 10 minutes a day, and just make a commitment for 7 days, see how you feel afterwards. But to repeat, um, I am one with my soul is one with me. I am one with my spirit is one with me. I am one with my body is one with me. And just keep repeating that. Breathe deeply, as you're doing it, like you're breathing from the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet, you know. Sammy was having, she was up and down yesterday. I mean, because it was just like intense. And when my husband did it, I could feel his toes tingling. And then Sammy, actually had calmed down a bit, just from that. Because the autistics, these other energetically sensitive kids, they feel other people's energies so much more. If somebody's energy field in the household is really off, it can really bother them if they feel the discord, things that's trying to happen naturally, is off. So I told them to, just to try that for a while. And you can even replace it with things like, I am one with my liver. My liver is one with me. I am one with my fascia. My fascia is one with me. Whatever body part or area that feels like it's really, intense. But I know several months ago I had mala, those 108 mala beads, and I would just use the beads and repeat some form of that 108 times. And again, you don't have to be that intricate, but people, even if you want to try it for 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, and then just see how you feel after a week. The other thing I've liked sometimes, it's quick and easy if I need to get myself back in balance. Is I am breathing with a plant. You know, I can't get outside necessarily a house plant. You know, I'll just go up to it and put my hands around its energy field and breathe with it. You know, just literally just breathe with it, even for a minute or two. Um, and that seems to help calm me down. But yeah, I thought, you know, we're talking about all these things. So how can we all need simple things because everybody is busy. We're all thinking about all the things that maybe need to be done throughout the day, you know, things to take care of, especially if you're a mom and a caretaker. Um, there's always something else to take care of. And so I think that contributes to the mind chatter because of so many responsibilities that we are carrying. Anything else? Should we do anything else?
I think that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
It's beautiful. Thank you, each of
Oh,
you, for being here. What a beautiful opportunity for us to get together.
I know. It was fun. And like I
yeah.
said, I mean, just adding Kat's presence today, like
Mhm.
I could feel the energy shifting and we were doing a lot of coherence building, you know, together.
Mhm.
And so I was like a little spacey at times because it was like, wow.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot happening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So just to say, Kat is, you know, kind of just stepping out, so she's not really doing anything. So we'll just put a little bit of her bio in the uh, at the end, at the bottom of the video. But um, doesn't have any contact information yet at this point. So maybe someday she will. You know, I don't know. But you know, yeah, she'll. Sounds like she'll certainly be joining us for these continued enlightening, high vibrational conversations for the rapidly changing reality that we're
Mhm.
moving through. So we hope this was helpful to everybody, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. We're very grateful for both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.